Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 228 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is a little bit of a special treat because, as you probably are very aware, this week is the week of Thanksgiving. So I thought it would be nice to do a Thanksgiving fish. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is the haddock. Now, the haddock, or scientific name Melanogrammus aegelfinus, again, that's Melanogrammus aegelfinus. It is part of the family Gattidae, which is the cod family. And we've talked about cod in the past, and haddock is essentially your quintessential cod. It's got some slight differences, but for those of you who are hoping to see something way out there, or one of those out there fish, unfortunately, we're going to be talking about the haddock, which is cool in its own way, just a little bit different. Now, the haddock is found in the North Atlantic Ocean and all the associated seas. It's more abundant on the eastern half of the Atlantic, really concentrated around Iceland and the coast of Norway. That's where the largest fishing stocks are. But it is found on the western Atlantic as well, around Greenland down to North Carolina. And the largest stocks on the North American side are in, surprise, surprise, Cape Cod. So this fish is actually one of the fish that the Cape got its name from. Now, it is a demersal fish, meaning it's primarily found on the bottom. They're found at depths of around 10 to 450 meters, which is 33 to 1500 feet, but they're most often found around 80 to 200 meters, which is 300 to 700 feet. So a relatively deep water species. Found over all sorts of substrates: sand, gravel, rocks, really like being over shells. Anywhere in waters between 4 and 10 degrees Celsius, which is 39 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is one of those cold water fish. They do not seem to like drop offs all that much. It's primarily flat bottom though. Now, this is a medium-sized fish, or what I consider a medium-sized fish. They're usually between 30 to 70 centimeters, which is 12 to 27 and a half inches. I could not find a lot of good pictures here, but here you can see a replica mount. And, you know, it's a decent sized mount. There is some commercial and recreational fishing for haddock. Not a lot, well, not a lot of recreational. There is certainly a lot of commercial fishing for haddock. But, you know, it's definitely, you know, kind of those odder sort of shapes. Anyway, like I said, they're usually between 30 and 70 centimeters, 12 to 28 inches, 0.9 to 1.8 kilograms, which is somewhere between 2 and 4 pounds. The longest haddock ever recorded was actually 94 centimeters, which was 37 inches and weighed 11 kilograms, which is 25 pounds. So what that tells me is haddock, yes, are usually caught between 30 and 70 centimeters, but they're probably caught before they're quite done growing. As we've talked about in the past, many fish, once they reach a certain length, they no longer get longer, they start just getting larger. Largemouth bass is one of the best examples of this. Once they get to about that 15, 16 inch mark, what is that, like around 50 centimeters, give or take, they really don't get longer. They just start getting really, really fat and large. And this fish, the longest one being 25 pounds, so much heavier than the average of 2 to 4 pounds, tells me that there's a potential for some big haddock out there. Now, it's got this long tapering body shape, real thick towards the front, really tapering to a relatively narrow caudal peduncle. It's got this really wedge-shaped snout. It's very prevalent here as well. You can see that the upper jaw actually extends beyond the lower jaw quite a bit. especially when you look at it here on this. Another example, if you look at this picture right here, you can see that that upper jaw is really extending beyond that. Something interesting, it kind of goes against most of the other fish. It's got 3 dorsal fins, 3 dorsal and 2 anal fin. That's not a very common occurrence here, and you can see it here as well, with that first dorsal being very triangular. Now the haddock does have a smaller mouth than most cod. It's got this very small barbel on the chin, like many other cod and things like that. Like I said, the 3 dorsal, the 2 anal fins. The upper portion of the body is very green, dark gray, brown, black. The lower body becomes silver to this very white belly, cream colored right there. So kind of everything above the line is usually a lot kind of darker gray. But it does have this very, very dark lateral line, which is actually where the genus got its name from, melanogrammus, which I believe means essentially dark line. So that dark line is actually very prevalent. You can see it here as well, even on this. And then something interesting is actually this little splotch right here. Now that splotch is actually a relatively unique situation there. It's got this oval black blotch between the black and the pectoral, the dark lateral line and the pectoral fin, which is actually sometimes called the devil's thumbprint. Why? Not entirely sure, but it's called the devil's thumbprint. Really just kind of neat. If anyone knows the history of why that's called the devil's thumbprint, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear about it. Now they usually live around 14 years. They're not incredibly long lived, and they're usually very infested with parasites. In fact, most of the cod family actually has quite a bit of infestation of parasites. There's actually I believe it's a fluke, maybe a worm that is very specific to the cod family, called like the cod worm or something like that, which actually has a very unique lifestyle. Very unique. The parasite will actually mate on a lump sucker, which we've talked about a lump sucker before, so please go watch that video. But the lump sucker, the worms like get on the lump sucker and mate, and then the female, after she is filled with eggs, will actually find a cod, and she'll actually enter in through the bloodstream and get very close, in fact piercing the heart wall and basically sitting in the vessels right around the heart, deriving its nutrients directly from the blood. Really bizarre sort of system. Very, very interesting. Please go look at the actual life cycle of that worm. It's truly, truly bizarre. But for the interesting fact we're going to end the video on is it is Thanksgiving week. And I'm sure most of my American audience is, definitely getting ready, cooking their turkeys, getting ready, things like, this is after Thanksgiving, so hopefully you're having plenty of leftover turkey and ham. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this fish is fish was actually most likely one of the dishes that was served at the first Thanksgiving. So when settlers came over, especially the Pilgrims, they were actually not very prolific hunters. They were very much more fishermen and farmers and weren't hunters. And so they usually, in fact, eels is one of the most truly accepted dishes that was served at Thanksgiving. But cod and haddock were so numerous that they were very much caught and preserved, and chances are haddock was in that dish sort of medley that was going on, which is a really neat thing that I wish more people knew about. If you truly wanted to honor Thanksgiving, you would be serving eels and cod and haddock, probably some lobsters as well, since the area that the first Thanksgiving took place would have been well populated with all sorts of lobsters. But not saying I want to get rid of my turkey. But just, it's a unique thing that, kind of goes into sometimes fish just don't get the credit where they deserve. And would we have Thanksgiving if it wasn't for this fish? I don't know. I would sure hope so. But it's kind of neat to be, people, you think of that quintessential Thanksgiving picture, people sitting around, with a giant turkey giving thanks. And, imagine just taking out the turkey and throwing a big old slab of cod on there, or haddock. And that'd be very weird to me. I think it's so ingrained to our culture right now, that turkey for Thanksgiving. But anyway, thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I am thankful for you all on this channel. You guys mean so much to me. Thank you so much for the love and support. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. Happy late Thanksgiving, everyone, and peace.